Okay, are you ready, Terence?
Yeah, I'm ready. If you could just give me screen sharing abilities.
Oh,
You should have that.
Okay.
okay. So our speaker today is Terence Figgy, an assistant professor here at Wichita State University. He comes from University of Wisconsin, and originally from Wisconsin himself and the Wisconsin system. And he's going to be talking today about the uh, supercomputing and computing needs and how to implement them and concerns. So go ahead, Terence.
Yeah, thank you. So I threw myself in the schedule so I could advertise our new resource on campus, and it's I was excited last January. I'm still very excited because as you know, there's been a lot of discussion about digital transformations, and of course, I think it's always nice to talk about these things and say, like, of course, what does it mean, and how do you go from talking about something to doing something with it. So I think it's great that the university sees this as an important thing to work on. But you can't work on things like digital transformations without digital tools. And in 2019, actually back in 2018, there was a proposal by the dean of the graduate school, and also he was a VP of the research office, to acquire the resources for an HPC system. That led, of course, they installed this in 2019. I followed that project, from a distance, but then as you probably all know, that I'm probably not the most patient person, so I decided to contact ITS in December of 2019 to see what was going on. And I learned at that time that there was the only way you signed up for access on the system was through email to the IT chief. That said, the IT chief at that time was quite open-minded, and I provided him some guidance. However, I did it, I tried to make a minimal impact, because I feel like oversight is the most important thing you can have. And I was trying to, well, we're at this point, we have oversight now. And I've, Interim President Muma and Colin Pugh have agreed to allow me to direct an HPC system that we have on campus. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not a system administrator. I do not install code, but what I will do is I'm going to promote the system. I'm going to help users get onto the system. I'm also going to provide needed oversight as well, and I represent all users as well. So if users have a problem, they come to me, and I'm going to advocate. Sometimes users have problems with perhaps maybe there's a misunderstanding with the system administrator, or maybe they're trying to figure out the procurement system in ITS. There's all these little hurdles that have to be navigated sometimes, and it's good to have somebody advocating for the users. So even though they call me a director, I really consider myself a user advocate for this project. So and this has come with so Tinghua Chen is a student HPC consultant. So he's now, I've tasked him with writing up some help documentation for the website and things like that. So now I'm going to go through some of the details on that. But you probably wonder, what is HPC? Now, a lot of people think that HPC is, you know, it has to be like, you know, you got to run with like, you know, all cores on the machine and stuff. You know, HPC just means you're doing parallel, you're using multiple computing cores in parallel. That's all it is. So you're probably doing parallel processing right now. You don't even know. Like, I think you're right now on your screen, you have GPUs, right? Parallel processing. So you could say you're doing high performance computing, right? You don't even know it. So the system is 2 racks. There's about 700 CPU cores. And then I think, you know, like I said, I'm not a system administrator. There's, you know, so if you want like the full detail, what is the exact architecture of the chips? You know, please ask the system administrators. They'll know the technology inside and out. I just know we need this stuff. You know, I'm a consumer of computing like crazy. Tinghua is as well. We can't get enough of it at times. And so, you know, and then maybe that's a bit self-centered. You know, like, well, we're big consumers. Everybody, we should have something like this. Now, chemistry is a big consumer. You know, and we have people in biology now using machine learning. Of course, you know, Professor Buther had a student who we know did some amazing work as well. So, you know, there's a, but, you know, the problem is that there's not a lot of awareness on campus about the system. And, you know, but that's being rectified at the moment. So we're working on that. But, yeah, so where does the money come from? Everybody's probably wondering, oh, where do you get the money? And I don't go around asking for money. I mean, I go around advocating and I say, look, make sure you support this. I didn't actually put this together. Dennis Livesey made the arrangement with the College of Engineering, LAS, Barton School of Business, Office of Research, Academic Affairs, and CANRAN. And now Colleen Pugh is in charge of that. So just so you know, I don't touch budgets or anything like that. Just consider me a very strong advocate. Right. But it, you know, to keep it all together, it takes a strong advocate to keep it all together because, yeah. So what's the vision for HPC at WSU? Well, I would say we're stronger together than apart. So and this is my perspective. Now, I don't want to say, you know, this may not be shared by everybody at the university, but I do think that if we pool our resources together in very clever ways, we can have, you know, for instance, this HPC system is an example of pooling resources together across colleges. We could imagine taking this model for, let's say, like site licenses on software. I think it is a bit of a philosophy shift in our campus. I think it's long overdue. This system is open access to students, faculty, students and faculty. So no matter what your situation is, you will be able to use the compute cycles to do your work. That's, I think that's very important, you know, we have colleagues, you know, some people, you know, some faculty will go through periods of where they're not getting this external funding. Well, we want to make sure that they can actually complete papers. Okay, so we want to keep, you know, the research moving forward, even if the funding agencies decide that, you know, not really help out there. So I think we can do this. Also, it's about providing students with experiences in this high performance computing realm. A lot of companies are using it. We should have a system that will act as a gateway to larger systems. So, an indirect consequence of this HPC system is you have workforce training. You don't even know. You're studying physics, and for instance, physics, you're doing a project in physics, and then you're at the same time you're using the HPC system. And of course, along with that, you're using tools. Maybe you're using some software repository systems like GitLab or GitHub or anything like that. You're picking up some soft skills along the way. And the thing is, like, you don't even have to really restructure your research at all. You just, we're going to use this system to do some calculations. And of course that goes to, you could say that even with our small systems, students are getting an experience, building codes and, software development is not just computer science. Okay. We, as researchers, like, and then, the STEM is one, for a long time, we've had in STEM, we've had to resort to computers to solve various problems. The humanities is now, the biology, these other sciences are starting to realize that data can be utilized in many different ways. So another nice thing about having an HPC system is that, and of course you can't just have the HPC system. It has to be something that, we certainly don't want people finding out that, oh, it doesn't work, or it's like, not, we want to make sure, so that's another thing is like, I'm super paranoid about quality. I'm paranoid that we're not doing enough, but then I'm also know that we're in a 5%, our budgets are getting cut left and right, so that's another thing is like, I do want to try to keep costs down as much as I can, or if I can influence that, and the costs are not very high right now. The system was paid for in 2018. The only cost we have and this is, through our, collaboration with CanRAN, we only have to pay, we pay our system administrators $40,000 a year. So you're getting 3 system administrators, and I'll talk about them soon, for $40,000 a year. I mean, you're probably like, well, should we not pay them more? And that's a good question. And that's where shared, my HPC advisory board comes in, and then, there's going to be shared governance and stuff like that. So you really can't. Okay, so I just clicked on a link. I probably got to share my entire screen here. Sorry about that. Where am I at here? I just lost my desktop share. Let's just show the entire screen. Find it. No. Apparently I don't have an entire screen. That's weird. Okay. Well. I don't know where it went. Okay, let's see, try that again. Okay, well, I just share the website. I don't know why I can't share my entire screen. That's very strange. Okay, so here's the website. And if you want to get an account, just click here. And it's very, well, super easy to fill out. You submit a project title, put in a short description, just, are you faculty, staff, student? You can also do courses. If your course we want the instructor to just submit a Excel spreadsheet with the list of WSU IDs. So yeah, so when you get an account on the system, you're going to use your WSU ID to log in. So the request goes first. It goes to a small. So we have a list of 8. We call them HPC account approvers. They are faculty members, so they're not just somebody sitting and in ITS. They were the first people who kind of stepped forward to do this. But if you're a student, we do want you to have a so if you click student, we do ask for a faculty email address. So it's basically going to be potentially your research advisor, or but we do want that this is somewhat intentional. We don't, we can't give every student an account right away. Now, we do want to encourage students to be reaching out to professors doing research to kind of get that research machine moving forward. So we can use this system as a way to kind of encourage that communication. But it's not a terribly difficult form to fill out here. This page is the plan for this page is they have more documentation, more examples, and definitely a lot more help. So now when you do get an account and you get stuck, we have 3 people that we're paying, and again, that's like $40,000 a year. So they're splitting this. Now, obviously, you're probably wondering, must get more than that, but that's kind of the current. They get an extra amount from CanRan too. So, CanRan is a very important part of this. It's a good relationship. Dave Turner is going to be the one who's going to help you with your job submission scripts. So if you're, or just helping you optimize your code. So he's going to help you with that. Adam and Kyle are the system administrators. They're going to be installing code if need be. Now, users can install their own code in their home directories, and that's what me and Tingwall typically do. But things that are very common to use, like compilers. Yeah, so we do have. Now, I was told to kind of by the advisory committee to, advertise the visualization a bit more because I hadn't done it. So let me go into that. So we have something called ondemand.hpc.edu. And so what I can, I'll have to start a new share. If I can find it. So here's my, so I'm going to log out just to show you what it looks like. So this is the graphical interface that will connect me to Bioshock. And you have to either be on campus or use the VPN to get yourself on campus. Now this will be the time where it decides not to work. So it's, it takes me, I'm going to have access to my files. Yeah, maybe. We'll assume I have my files there. There's various interactive apps. So there you can have the desktop. So I can start a desktop. Yeah, this is not good. And then, you know, so the desktop is a CentOS Linux desktop. So if you need to do, you know, if you're in a pinch and you need a desktop, I mean, it's nice, desktops are nice because then you can actually look at the plots that you made from your runs the night before. So it looks like we have a little bit of connection issue. Usually it goes faster than this. It's interesting. All right, if that doesn't work, then we'll go look at other things. Oh, there we go, almost. Well, you can also look at the, let's see here. Yeah, you can look at active jobs. And there's quite a few of them out there. So here's my directory finally of all my files. Here's a list of active jobs. So these are, you know, actual students running. It looks like we got one that's really consuming quite a bit there. I might want to reach out to this person and see, like, what are you actually running here? Because there's a lot there. It's like they're soaking up. Now, obviously, we have system administrators. They're looking at this all the time. Now, we've been quite liberal with things, but I mean, like, you know, it looks like, you know, it's the same thing over and over. So we don't know who's running the stuff, but we could, you know, find out very quickly. But, you know, obviously, it's not my job. I'm not a system administrator. I don't have root access, so, you know, I can't shut down jobs. That's not my job, and we won't do it. I mean, unless you're really misbehaving. Okay, so here's my desktop. You know, because we don't know. And by the way, me not having the root access is by design. I mean, I don't think it's appropriate for me to have root access, and I don't even know what I'm doing half. I mean, I know how to run stuff, but I don't, you know, beyond, you know, why would you want me wasting my time installing code? That seems like a waste of time. I should be spending time trying to figure out, you know, how to get more users, you know, involved and stuff like that. So yeah, here's your, you know, just a, you know, it's a shell. You could run stuff. I mean, yeah. Yeah, I can look at the modules. So this uses a module system, and we could list out the modules there. Yeah. Oh, wow. That's really pokey today. But yeah, I may actually, you know, I might follow up. Let's see, just out of curiosity to make sure people are not, you know, wasting resources. But, okay. Well, that's the thing is, like, you know, I go into the system enough, and if, you know, and I'm a user myself, and if it's becoming unusable for people, then it needs to be fixed. But we've, you know, there's, you know, I don't know, people use MATLAB around here. I mean, that's the nice thing is there's this graphical interface here, and you can, you know, launch things. Yeah. Okay, so what do we got here? I can delete my session here. So eventually a session will start. You'll see it pop up here, and I could just delete this here. Yep. Yeah, this is actually a little bit embarrassing, you know, but that's fine. Well, it'll be nice discussion next week in the HPC advisory meeting. Like, what's going on here? Do we need limits and stuff like that? Okay, so here we go. Did it connect? No. So here's my I could launch MATLAB now. And you're gonna watch there. Oh, there's MATLAB popping up. Now, we don't, our campus only has a few, I think we have 50 licenses across the entire campus. So that is getting solved. I don't know when, but we're working on it. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I have way too much candor during the talk, but I think it's important to be honest. You know, honesty's better. And, you know, today is gonna, you know, I'm gonna feel, you know, you can feel free to ask questions and make comments, and, you know, any input how to make things better for everybody is useful. So yeah, I mean, this is the on-demand system. Now you can also do your standard terminal. I can stop my share here. So like if I open up a terminal, so I got, you know, here's your little, so let me get out of that system. Open up a new terminal. So oops. For some reason it doesn't want me to type there. It's very strange. Okay, well, I don't know why that didn't work. There we go. So I can like SSH. Well, that's my other system. So I can SSH. So it's hpc-login.wich.edu, and I can log in there. And so your username and password is your MyWSU password. You know, luckily you didn't see my password there, but you know, I'm logged in. This is the standard way, and then there's, you know, if you want to see what's on the batch queue, tons of stuff running. Look at that. Yeah. Okay. So it obviously, if somebody's submitting quite a bit, the batch system penalizes them, and so they'll end up having to wait. Okay. So if you do submit tons and tons of stuff, eventually you're going to be putting on, you know, the batch system will recognize you're sort of, you know, running things quite a bit. But you see, like this person, they've been running like one day. So we may decide, and this is the great thing about having a director for all this, is that we can look at this and say, look, is this what we want? Do we want to have somebody running for one day? You know, this person looks like they've started something, you know, and, you know, maybe they need a little bit of assistance or help or something, like, you know, but, you know, we can certainly start, but yeah, but you don't know. I mean, things do take more than, you know, we have some event generation runs we do. We don't use this system because if we used this system, me and Tinghua would, because I think Tinghua has been using like at least 1,000 job slots. So what we do, and I'll show you what other systems that are out there if you need to use more than the 7 or 60. So let me just terminate that. Share a different so like, I really wish I could do like my full desktop. I feel like there should be an option for this. Do you know why I cannot share my full desktop with you? I mean, this doesn't.
There are different Zoom versions. Maybe you've upgraded and it's not available on the version you currently have. I've had
No, that's a setting in the meeting setups. Like whoever set this up, probably you can disable or enable desktop sharing. So it's probably turned off for this meeting for whatever reason.
That's fine. Okay. That's fine. Okay, so I will just. We have a centralized contact. You know, so if you need to get a hold of, you know, somebody. That's one email you can do, and of course there's the new user sign up. And you know, again, our system administrators, they can be contacted by hpc@canrun.net. So, you know, send them an email, you know, get you moving forward. There's a documents page. This wiki page right now sits behind the VPN. Me and Tinghua and the system administrator will be moving this to someplace that can be accessed very easily. Okay, so that is being fixed because I have a lot of users, you know, they just want to look at what's on the system, and this is what we've been doing. And I guess I have to do another stop share here. because I want to show you the wiki there. I think this is the right one. So here's the wiki page. You know, it's actually a lot more. The thing is, like, it's very easy. Any user can log in and you can edit these pages. And so that's, of course, don't edit them into oblivion. If you do that, then I'll be very upset with you. But, you know, so this is kind of, so our project is to kind of take a lot of this information and get it into a place that's a little bit easier to access. You know, we do have some, on the wiki page, we have some examples on how to, you know, let's say you want to have your own Python tools. There's a way to do this. And they go through this because you have to, if you install code, you have to install it in your own home directory. And, you know, because you don't have root privileges, you know, one has to, there's methods of working around this. But yeah, a lot of information packed in here. So that a lot of this stuff was actually a recent thing. And this is business school asked for this, was Spark. And I don't know much about Spark, but I know we have it now. So maybe this is interesting for anybody who's doing data analytics or anything like that. But we also have TensorFlow. Yeah, so, but yeah, okay. So, and then there's some other things here, you know, licensed software. Okay, right now, if, you know, so you'll have to have your own licensed server someplace or something, and then you have to tell our system administrators, you know, where to point, because obviously, so they'll install it, but they'll, you know, the licensed software will need that. So some of these things, not all users can use. I mean, if I open Console, I would not be able to use it. Okay, and maybe Abacus, although I haven't tried it. But okay, so are there any questions? I mean, I feel like I've kind of rambled here, and I think I mean, I can show you one other.
Terrence, I'm raising my hand.
Go ahead, talk.
I have a question. It was back a few slides. You were maybe when you were showing us the MATLAB demonstration, you said, for instance, there are 50 licenses available on campus for MATLAB. Is that all for your system? And what happens if there are 50 users trying to simultaneously use MATLAB? Does one just throw an error?
Well, yeah, it won't work if their licenses run out. You just won't. Your job won't run. That was a problem. We have a what we are asking. This kind of I mean, this was all kind of, the math department stumbled into this. Adam Yeager ran quite a bit of MATLAB stuff. The math department did is they purchased the MATLAB compiler. So that was installed on the system. So we have some instructions. So what, you know, if you're going to run a lot of MATLAB, we're going to ask you to compile the code first. So once it's compiled, then that compiled executable can be moved from, can be ran on any machine. So that's been our solution for reducing the number of you know, the number of licenses used there. But obviously another solution here would be very simple. It'd be called a site license. But
well, or I don't know how frequently you bump into this, but are there time limits for how long users can be on a license or something like that?
Well, we haven't had.
Or maybe it's just not an issue right now in the system.
Right now, yeah, I mean, our system administrators are keeping an eye on user behavior. And we're collecting data. You know, as much as I would love to create, you know, batch queues for this and that, I don't think that's, that's not my decision to really make on my own. So that, we're basically, letting people use the system with, I think the current.
Yeah, I guess just, I mean, my use cases, I've been trying to think a little bit lately how one might implement this in courses, but if they're like, like three courses simultaneously asking students to log on and do something in MATLAB, we might quickly bump into those
Yeah.
site
mean,
licenses.
I
I'm
think
just
that's-
trying to figure out what kind of activities are viable to perform on the system right now. So
I feel like if I were teaching a course and giving an assignment, I would say like, I'm going to give you like something simple, so before I give the assignment out, I'm going to see if I can get it to run within a few days, right? And then I would, pick a deadline, say, look, okay, can you get this run in the next 2 weeks? And if you run into like, problems getting things submitted, let me know. I think that's how I would approach it at this point. Because it is only 7 or 60 cores of computing. But I feel like, just the way things get funded around at a university is that if people see that this service is being utilized at like, at a very high level, I feel like we can make a very good argument, there's other resources out there, right? We see, and I don't know exactly what the funding resources are. I'm learning these things as time goes on. A lot of things are compartmented, like that. I don't know everything, in terms of the exact funding and stuff. And I know that, I basically said, I think there's a person in ITS who is in charge of setting up the contracts and stuff. So, and I think even now our new IT chief, Ken Harmon, is, been strongly advocating for the HPC system as well. So I think, if we see that this resource is if they see that this is being used a lot, I can't imagine them saying like, oh, I don't know. But it's one of those things you just don't know until it happens. So you're right now, you're kind of in, it's a bit of an experiment, right? I've put out a few surveys, or one survey, just to get some feedback from users. And, a lot of people are like, this is so much better than my laptop, they were, so they're, but yeah, courses I probably wouldn't do a live session, because as you see today, I try to go on and, it's a bit laggy. So, I can tell you what some universities do. They have an education cluster for HPC, and then they also have a research cluster for HPC. Now, we're not there yet, but, it's good to have goals, right? So, any other questions?
Terence?
Yep.
Do you have any comments about storing large data sets on the HPC system, or whether we should offload those back to our own machines and do non-intensive processing there so the HPC can do what it's good at, which is the high performance?
Yeah, so the system, there is a RAID system. So yeah, they do get backed up because it's a RAID system, but there's we don't have on this campus backup tape or anything like that. So if you're doing research, once you process whatever data you have, my advice, archive that data, put it someplace, get it stored someplace else. You don't want to risk things do get shut down. We just had Bioshock was shut down for like a day or two, and so then if your data is sitting there stuck, then yeah, a good practice would be to get that data put someplace else. We could certainly, I think data storage is a very important issue, I would, and I'm probably gonna, I'm trying to get some discussions going on with we have some partners on campus who pride themselves in digital storage. So I feel like this is kind of like a possibility at some point, but I don't know if that answers your question. So
Yeah, yes, it does. I think it does, at least somewhat. Yeah.
yeah.
But
I
that
mean,
said, Terrence, can I just follow in on this discussion?
Yeah.
I mean, there is significant disk space on the machine. Like we brought over, many terabytes worth of, Nova neutrino data. Now, as Terrence was pointing out, this is a copy of data that's being backed up other places, but there's certainly room for large data sets to live on the system if you need to work on them, which we found easy to do in our experience. So.
yeah, I mean, I was told by the system administrators there was, they did not put any limits on home directory spaces, and and I think I kind of agreed with that position. We actually, it was not just me; it was a large group of faculty who were like, "Yeah, let's just see what happens here." I mean, if it becomes a big problem, and obviously that's when you got to start, putting in some constraints. But I want to be an encourager, not a discourager. So I'm glad that Professor Muther didn't have any roadblocks there. I mean, so, and honestly, I think that's how I, if people feel like I'm discouraging usage of the system, write Colleen Pugh and say, look, we want to get somebody else heading this up. So, although you could do that now too, but I don't know who you're going to find. I mean, we could get, maybe Matt could do it and be like, no, but anybody could do it. It's just, you just need to be an advocate and go into the system and be picky. And, but yeah, I mean, what else here? Any other questions?
I'll raise another one also, and that is learning how to use the system is not something that happens just in an instant, but people generally need some training. And I don't know if you want to go through what you recommend for training, say a little bit of Linux background, a little bit of like the OU supercomputer materials they have online, etc.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, training of users. Yeah, that's it's been a topic of discussion at many recent meetings that I've been involved in, and so this is why Tinghua Chen has been is being paid to assist me. So he is actually, maybe I can just share an example of what he's put together, because I think it's a great, I'd like to kind of advertise. So what he did, he typed up kind of like a hello world example, and he tested this himself on the system. And now eventually this is, so yeah, we realize that there's an issue here with training and stuff. And I think that question is definitely interesting, because training is kind of like, we should all be involved in the training of other users, right? I mean, we should develop a community, because computer science has training, right? They have the know-how to teach students how to use, compile an MPI and various things like that, right? So I think we have a lot of resources on campus, and I'm going to try to pull together resources, and there are, but and that's kind of, I think that's kind of part of what I'm supposed to be doing. But I do view this as like, well, there's no once faculty kind of learn how to use the system, they can pass on their knowledge. Now students can do the same thing too. If a student kind of figures things out, and they can, it kind of feeds into itself. So if I got to, will I be doing training sessions? Probably not, but I will try to get people, what I'll try to do is organize some software carpentries. I mean, we will have like qualified trainers do this. We don't need to, but like Ting Wang can, help with the documentation and, but yeah, I mean, if I can, so that's why I've been spending a lot of time pulling in resources from across the campus, because I feel like there's a lot of hidden, nuggets of resources here and there, which could be utilized to, move this forward. So, any other questions? Like this has kind of been like a bit of a, set this up for, time for discussion, but I don't know. Well, certainly if you have any ideas and how to improve things, send me an email and we can, I mean, the big one I'm going to try to work on is the site license issue for some of these tools.
Hey, Terence.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Can you just speak to, or maybe I know this is not, you said you don't control budgets and all these things, but is there a developing hardware maintenance or upgrade plan or something in the works? I mean, these machines are, when you said it, we got it in 2019, right? So we're already getting on a couple years old, and I just wonder if there are starting to be thoughts in that direction for how we keep this cluster viable.
Yeah, I mean, we are, well, I have asked, ITS, about the economics and we, so we have some preliminary numbers out there to get us through this current, financial crisis, because it would be sad if we stop supporting this system, because once you if and we're right at the minimal level of support for the system right now, in my opinion, but yeah, I mean, we're definitely thinking about like, okay, refresh cycles, and so one of the things I've done, there's a professor in K-State, Daniel Andrensen. He's got a huge body of knowledge, and he's one of the he's the head of the institute that started this Beocat system at K-State. So yeah, no, we're getting some really good advice, but it's not going to, we're not trying to triple the size of this system. I think we're going to be reasonable in its growth, and we do have, faculty such as yourself can, purchase a node, and then.
Yeah, I'm not even thinking about growing the system. I'm just thinking about, as the machines get old and things.
Yeah, no, there's a, yeah, that, I mean, that's being, I mean, again, I won't know the exact number because I'm not a, person who knows how much a cable costs and stuff like that. But, I've raised the issue and it was heard. So, and it's being acted upon. But yeah, there's a lot of, a lot of work this semester. So yeah, if I seem stressed out this semester, that'll be one reason why. But it's an important project, so I think we'll see where it goes. But I think it's my opinion. I don't know. I was one of the researchers who was negatively impacted when the university decided to scrap the old other system without any warning. So I mean, this is I mean, so when I was told, failure was not an option for this system. So, any
Yeah,
questions?
just another 2 cents on that. I know this is not your thing, but I think that's a really important message to get straight quickly to increase users and people's willingness to get on the system, to know that it's something that's going to be around for a while and it's worth investing time in.
Oh yeah.
If we're not getting clear messaging that this system's going to be maintained,
Oh, it's
I
going to
think
be.
I think there's a worry that it will go the way of previous systems, and maybe time is not well spent getting this off the ground. So I think I think above you, I mean, it's just an important thing to have a crisp answer on that. Yes, this thing is going to be around and current and modern and maintained.
Yeah, I mean, it's
moving
going to
forward.
be. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be modern. I mean, I'm going to pour a lot of effort into, making sure it moves forward and stuff. And we have if you look at the website, interim president Muma, supports this system. I mean, this is, I was only granted the directorship right from the interim president. So, this represents, they want this to work. So, I mean, there's no choice. I mean, this system is going to be around. Students need to learn how to use computers. I mean, every university, so I mean, yeah, I mean, the next time I give this answer, yes, I could just say, look, the system is supported, full stop. But I mean, if you're, but like we just were, I mean, I guess probably part of the problem is a little bit too candid at times, and I do apologize for that. But I think, I'm confident that things will be around. I mean, the problem, but it's not what I was saying is that, the budget for higher education overall, that impacts everybody, and if it doesn't, we think that it doesn't, then, and I don't think, so that's where I was coming from. So if anything was going to, hurt us, it's going to hurt us as an institution, not so much like any specific system. But any other questions or comments?
Well, it was a nice update of the system, and it's available for students to do work on research, and faculty and staff. So thanks for the introduction.
Yeah, quite welcome.
All right. Thanks again, everyone. Our next talk is in 2 weeks, the 3rd of March, I think. He's the grandson of our former physics department chairman here at Wichita State in the 60s. And he was the director of Livermore Lab for a while, and he's now the director of Hughes Research Lab. Okay, so it should be a fun talk. Alrighty. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.